This is Susan Bassi, and we're back shadowing our process server who is serving subpoenas on a number of individuals that will require their appearance in court. And we're going to show you the good, the bad, and we're going to let you make up your mind on the rest. This is UnRaveled. She formerly worked as an attorney for county counsel in Santa Clara County, meaning she defended the police, CPS workers, and other government workers. She now works for the McManus Law Firm, is a professor at UC Berkeley in the School of Law, and she is very active in the local political campaigns. This year, she's actually endorsing and supporting the candidacy of Jay Borski, the Chief of Staff for the District Attorney, Jeff Rosen. And you might recall him from my previous videos when he said this.
Mr. Borski, what do you say about people who are critical of your office for giving a different standard for victims based on what you did in the San Martin rape case?
Ms. Bassi, as you know, you're charged with criminal offenses by our office, and it would be an ethical breach for me to have a conversation with someone who's charged with a crime here. So I can't have any conversation with you, Ms. Bassi.
And when she was running for state senate, UnRaveled gave a speech that we attended where she said that if she were ever involved in a divorce case, that she would become unraveled. So we thought we'd just show you what divorce attorneys in Santa Clara look like and what it looks like when they become unraveled.
You already served me on Thursday. Get off my fucking porch.
Jessica Huey is a private divorce attorney, but more importantly, she is regularly appointed by the court to represent children during their parents' divorce case. And this is a lucrative appointment. It is judges giving attorneys employment that the parents have to pay for without question. And when the parents can't legally afford to pay for it, then taxpayers pay for her services. And it's not really clear what she does to act in the best interest of children when she acts like this when a process server is trying to serve her a legal subpoena to appear in court, and she won't agree to accept service at her office.
Do you mind if I ask what's going on? She's 9 months pregnant.
I have a subpoena for her.
Okay, let me grab her.
Thank you,
Give me
sir.
a few minutes, please.
Yes, sir, no problem.
You all want something to drink?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a seat, please.
All right.
And this is Jessica Huey's second husband. He seems perfectly nice. Her first one she divorced, and her divorce case was in front of Judge Towery, who was awarding her a significant number of appointments. And in that divorce case, she was represented by divorce attorney Nicole Ford. And somehow, Jessica Huey was able to incite the conflict from a perfectly nice second husband on the front porch, who moments later appeared at our car and behaved like this.
I do not consent to this.
I'm serving papers, and I photograph when I go out and serve papers,
Why
sir.
are you here, ma'am?
I'm following what he's
You don't
doing.
have consent to film.
Sir, you're standing on a public sidewalk and you're married to a divorce attorney.
A controversial divorce attorney who clearly was able to incite the conflict from the time he closed the door the first time to when she slammed it the second. Nicole Myers is a divorce attorney who is regularly referred business from the district attorney. They have a number of prosecutors referring her business, which is unusual, and we're not really clear how that's legally allowed. But once Nicole Myers gets these clients, they pressure their former spouse to agree to use a private judge, largely Michael Smith. And you may recall that we did some videos about Michael Smith, the private judge who was not posting his cases, not noticing his hearings, and who was taking cryptocurrency from the clients. And it's not really clear if he was reporting that on his taxes. Well, Michael Smith was the private judge used in Julia and Yuval's case. Julia and Yuval moved to America on a visa because Julia was a high-value employee that Silicon Valley needed. So she was largely the breadwinner in the family. They purchased this home, had 3 children, and then they got involved in a divorce. Before Nicole Myers got in the case, the couple was nesting. That means that Yuval would spend a week in the house with the children, and then Julia would, so the children didn't have to be disrupted from the home. But once Nicole Myers got involved, there started to be false allegations of domestic violence, which is common, and we see it in cases where divorce attorneys are trying to use the legal system as a way of coercively controlling the other spouse. Yuval, who had access to all the money and had money from his family in real estate, was able to keep paying Nicole Myers, and get orders that included a $40,000 sanction for Julia talking to us about private judging. Then they got orders to declare her to be a vexatious litigant. They removed her from custody of her children. They kicked her out of the house. And then Yuval had permission to sell the house and get rid of all of her personal property. All of the equity in the home will be whittled down and eventually given to Nicole Myers for her attorney's fees that she created by inciting conflict in this divorce. And this is what a modern-day divorce case looks like in Silicon Valley.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Being here on official court business, always maintain transparency.
That's right. That's right. We're not hiding anything. But let's point out that as a journalist documenting what you're doing, I don't identify.
Okay.
Because I am simply documenting what you are doing and making sure that there's no problems and that everybody plays by the rules.
Right, that's what I told him. I said he's there for your safety and for mine.
That's right. That's right. And from a public sidewalk, you can always record in public. Let's walk down this way for a minute. This is a classic family court look.
You may recall that the process server previously went to the offices of B.J. Fathom. The outside of the offices was closed, as was the inside, and they refused to accept service, and therefore the process server had to go to B.J. Fathom's home to serve him and his wife with the subpoenas personally. And here again, B.J. Fathom is inside, hiding and refusing to accept service of a subpoena. And this is a divorce attorney who understands procedures and serves subpoenas and lawsuits on people for a living, and yet when it was served on him, he refused to answer the door and was clearly ducking service. In addition to being a divorce attorney, B.J. Fathom is also regularly appointed to represent children as a minors counsel, but he's also a private judge, which means that he is paid cash money by individual attorneys who bring him business for their clients to be a private judge. That means he's supposed to be a public servant, but he also gets paid to do that job, and many times more money than a public court judge does. And yet, we continue to see him duck service of a subpoena.
Yeah, B.J. Fathom shouldn't even be a lawyer. I mean, isn't it the simple thing that a lawyer receives paperwork, receives process, and then litigates for their client? If you can't do step one, go get a job at McDonald's, you know? A matter of fact, I believe you used to be a police officer. Maybe you can go back and do that. Because if you can't receive process, you're useless as a lawyer.
Hello?
B.J. Fathom didn't just duck service, he called the police, which incites the conflict even further and puts the process server and his camera crew at risk of arrest, injury, or even worse. It also puts the police officers at risk, and B.J. Fathom is a former police officer, and he certainly would know that.
Hey, sir. Guess why we're here?
Because I'm serving papers.
So I think I have a feeling about that. That's what he even said.
That's what he even said, meaning B.J. Fathom, a licensed attorney who works as a private judge and a minors counsel, called the police because someone was serving him with legal papers.
B.J. Fathom and...
B.J. Fathom didn't just have one police officer show up. Over 5 police units showed up and 6 police officers. And this is the public resources that was expended because B.J. Fathom was being served with court papers compelling his testimony in court. One of those police officers back in 2019 made over $349,000 in pay and benefits. So we're going to get the calls for service, we're going to get the body cams, and we're going to add up the public resources that these divorce attorneys are expending when they incite the conflict simply because they're acting in a divorce or a custody case.